What's going on, y'all? It's your girl Boost Boswell with the bottom line. Happy Saturday. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. I know where I'm at, it's been gray and sunny days, and the day has been kind of okay. Listen, I wanted to bring this topic to the platform because, number one, I heard about it before it went viral. Um, Gail Lewis, a well-to-do housewife in Atlanta, went viral a little over a week or so ago regarding her unfortunate demise of her marriage because of a side chick relationship that her husband Harold is having with a much younger lady that many people say looks like Mrs. Gail Lewis, Sabrina um, Hutton, that's on the right side of this picture, the smaller picture. They say Gail, the wife, and Sabrina look alike. Mr. Harold Lewis is actually um, a COO of some sort of a mortgage firm, if I'm not mistaken. Very well to do, successful man that is married to Miss Gail for over 28 years, currently in the midst of a divorce. But I wanted to bring this relationship up and kind of walk through it with the community regarding what's acceptable behavior in current day in the current state of Black love, uh, what it used to look like and what it currently looks like, and where are you at with that? Many people are divided with this story because initially, when Gail came out and told the story of her husband being with a much younger woman and how she believed she had this perfect man, fast forward over 2 decades, she was slapped in the face with the reality because she just happened to call while her husband was quote unquote away on a business trip. Uh, she was trying to track his return time so she could have his supper ready when he got home. And in the midst of doing her daily travel, she called the airport to try to retrieve that information while she was driving. And the airline agent gave her the information after she um, was required to share who her husband, the name of her husband was. The agents provided her with his return information in addition to his um, occupant that was traveling with him. And Gail originally thought that there was a mistake because Gail only understood her husband to be traveling alone. And when the agent repeated that Mr. Lewis and his companion had returned and landed at a certain time, that got Gail's thinking cap on, although she thought the agent was mistaken. And when she connected with her husband, she asked him about that. And of course, Mr. Lewis denied it and said that he had no idea who that person the agent was speaking of. And Gail went on to tell her story beautifully as um, his answer did not set well with her. And you know how we women are. We tend to dig into a situation when it keeps nagging at us. And that's what happened with Gail, as many of us can identify with. Um, she ended up finding uh, the companion's name all over her American Express um, billing statement. And it wasn't just for that trip, it was for many trips over 10 months. A lot of transactions were conducted with that credit card to the beneficiary of Sabrina, the side chick. And once Gail knew that she had the truth, she brought it about to her husband, to for him to explain himself. And of course, the husband initially denied it. But when Gail reiterated that she already knew the truth and she was going to ask him for a last time, the husband came clean that, in fact, Sabrina was his girlfriend. And he uh, said it with a form of relief. According to Gail, like the weight of the world was lifted off of him, and he no longer had to hide. Being devastated and in shock as any woman would be, especially when you have been in a relationship as long as Gail has been with her husband Harold for over 20 years, 28 to be exact. It wasn't 28 at the time. This year they marked 28 years, but they've been not together from what I understand, almost about 2 years, if not 2 years. Uh, Court documents for a divorce have been filed, so they're in the midst of that. But back to the story at hand, Gail was so upset that she ended up going to a hospital because her blood pressure was skyrocketing, and she probably felt as though she's had a heart attack. The reality is, um, many times we do become very sick, or we are impacted emotionally so severely that it can have a very harmful effect on us mentally and physically. And Gail going to the hospital is a reality for many women, because I myself have went through some things in my life, and also has others that I'm aware of, directly and indirectly, that you can be impacted so severely emotionally when you are caught off guard, or you are a part of something that is not what it appeared to be, and unexpectedly um, hits you adversely. It can really take you down emotionally and physically. And that is what happened to Gail. And um, she got checked out, and was assisted to get her blood pressure down. Fast forward, when she reconnected with her husband, because she didn't want him to go with her. And she, quite honestly, from the way that she shared her story, he really didn't care to go either. But when they reconnected, she started to want to understand in regards to the status of and future of her and her husband's relationship. And she offered up therapy and wanted to relocate so they can start anew and fresh. And the husband kind of snickered and nonchalantly agreed to do those things if that's what she needed and wanted. And then she followed up with, well, what about her, the other woman? And are you going to stop seeing her? And the husband could not commit to that, or tell her that that was what he was going to do. And she's assumed and shared that then obviously you want a divorce. And he said, I do not. In Gail's words, according to her storytelling and sharing, he said that, excuse my French, he wasn't going to let anyone F up his money. Um, So the reality of all this is, Gail lived a privileged life. She thought that she had this solid relationship with a man for over 20 plus years, only to find out, um, as this story started to twist and turn, the way she acquired her husband is, in fact, the same way um, that the side chick encountered him. See, when Gail shared her story, she didn't share that rewind over 20 plus years, that Mr. Lewis was married when she encountered him. To Gail's defense, she said that she was not aware that he was married because she met him on an outing from a mutual friend that shared Mr. Lewis was interested in her. And from what she understood uh, through her friend, he wasn't married. And when he wanted to pursue her and take her out to dinner, that is when she found out from Mr. Harold Lewis that he was in fact married, which Gail denies and expresses that she is not nor has ever been interested in a married man, and told Harold as such. And he assured her that he was getting divorced and he was interested in pursuing her. Gail then goes on to say that she's not in the business of breaking up marriages and relationships. She encouraged Harold to stay with his wife, but he assured her that the marriage was over. But what I find kind of telling is when Gail met him, his wife had just had their second child. So um, even if a man says that their marriage is over, being that he is walking away from a woman with their second child, would tell me a lot of things about the substance, the character, and the integrity of the man. But I digress because I wasn't in Gail's situation, but I have been in a similar one, I must admit. I did date someone that I did not know he was married, but um, there was no children involved. And I too felt the same way Gail did. Never to date a man that is married, because what you put out in the world is what you will receive. But I can say that some people's character and the way they move in this world can convince you of their story. So I would encourage and caution any and everybody, be it male or female, to do your homework and to truly know who you are dealing with before you proceed, because it can happen to you. And there is situations where you really don't believe in something and you participate in it not knowingly. So I know I've seen other videos and other comments to where they say, oh, she had to have known. A piece of Gail's story I have lived too. So I can say, no, there are situations where you do not know, but it's up to you to believe that or not. But I just thought that I would throw that party in. Fast forward with Gail's husband not committing to agreeing to sever the relationship with the younger woman. Uh, Gail was left with the decision of where does she go from here. And the husband even said that he was going to give her a break, 3 to 6 months. He was going to move out the family home so she can soul search on what she wanted to do. And within that time, if she had found someone else, he would understand. And we all know, as many of you are my age group, Gen X or millennials or baby boomers, maybe some Gen Z are out there, but collectively we can agree anytime someone that you've been with for so many years and you've shared your life with, say, that they would understand if you want to sever the relationship without fighting for it, they've already made a decision, and it's time for you to make your adjustments and pivot in the directions that's healthy and beneficial for your life going forward. And that is the situation that Gail found herself in. Um, that's really the story in a nutshell, outside the fact that Gail did file for divorce. The husband has moved out. He lives with the side chick. All this is alleged, but from their from her and Sabrina's um and post and interaction and sharing of information on the internet. This is what has been said. Um, he's living with Sabrina, who was married back then and has children of her own. There is also a video and post going around with the initial first wife saying that Gail's recollection of how she got her husband was not true, that Gail did the same thing to the first wife, according to the first wife, allegedly, that Sabrina is currently doing to Gail. In the end, the commonality is Mr. Harold Lewis, a very successful, mediocre, basic, uh, five at best physically, but probably a 10 financially. He is the common denominator. And it brings about the conversation of Black love and respect for a marriage or your fellow woman or fellow man, how we tend to not adhere to boundaries or red flags, that we see something someone else has and we are so eager to wanting it for ourselves that we disregard respect for others. We disregard um, this the need and the necessity of boundaries and respect and loyalty. And by doing that, we have many marriages that are dissolved, and it's just a domino effect of allowing people to have bad behavior and treat people as if they can just discard them as if they don't matter. And when it happens to you, you call foul, and that's just not how the world works. There was a time in life where sisterhood and boundaries and not crossing certain lines was respected and celebrated, um, and practiced. Now those lines have been erased. Boundaries have no edges. Um, Discipline doesn't exist. We do whatever we want to do, how we want to do it, and we disregard who we might hurt in the process. What we fail to realize, and what I want you to understand as an individual, being a man or female, is many times when we do these behaviors, we're not the only people that we're hurting on both ends when there are children involved, be it ours or on the other side. They watch us, they learn from us, and they emulate us. And we don't understand when these children grow up to disrespect and hate us or to emulate us. And so many relationships have been dissolved because we don't proceed with caution. We don't uh, react and carry ourselves with character. And so many people are hurt, sick, emotionally and physically because of other people's or themselves bad behavior. I don't care who you are. I don't care how you are. You must understand whatever you put out in this world is what you will get in return. You must understand that you are no better than anyone else and that you would do better to care about someone else other than yourself. If you haven't, please take a moment to hit that thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. It hits the algorithm. And if you catch this on the replay, make sure you are hitting it throughout the video. I appreciate it. And share this live with someone else. We have to get back to the basics. We have gotten away from tradition, self respect, common sense in many cases that anything goes and everybody is out of control, and it's disheartening, it's concerning. um, Whether you agree with Gail or Sabrina, or if you a side chick and you promote it, um, that is something that you will have to deal with individually in your life and understand. There's always a reaction to every action, and I will also caution those young ladies that follow the sprinkle sprinkle mentality. A lot of times this is the other side of that provider, quote unquote, lifestyle mentality. This is the harsh truth that many of these ladies are living, that so many of you are running to try to get that 1% or top 10% life. It doesn't come with all the beauty and the accolades that they post on Instagram and living my best life mentality. There is a much bigger and uglier side to these provider life. That these women aren't sharing. But Gail's situation is a glimpse into the reality of that sprinkle, sprinkle mentality. And it's very easy to say, oh, what you would and would not do. But when you are in a situation and totally reliant on somebody else financially, you put yourself in a very vulnerable situation to be dictated to. And yeah, you can walk out and you can do all this and that, but it's easier said than done when you are in it and living in it. And more times than not, we give ourselves much more credit than we should, because we are more alike than we are not. So to say what you wouldn't do if you was in that situation, you I caution you, unless you are in that situation. Learn from these stories. Learn from these situations and understand that these things happen more and many more times than they do not. And it's a reality of that provider life that so many seek to have. What I know to be true is this: one of the best things that you can do is to provide that life for yourself, and then invite someone else in once you have established yourself for yourself by yourself. I believe that a man does have a responsibility, but there are limits and there are consequences to relinquishing and handing over the responsibility in the aspect of your life. Know that that provider sprinkle sprinkle life ain't all that is cracked up to be. And many times, what you also must know is this: a lot of women that have those lives successfully, number one, she is either the breadwinner herself, or before she entered into the provider relationship where she no longer worked, she is already established and she is bringing something to the table as well. If you believe and you think that you just gonna show up and get all these things without coming off of something or conforming, then this platform will be here when you get back, and I will offer you next steps to how to get your identity, your mental health, your physical health, financial, and life back, because life just don't work like that. And if it does, it only does for a slight few. It's more people that can share the Gail Lewis story than the Cinderella. Cinderella is an old tale, a fable, a fairy tale that has been here for many, many years. It is a fairy tale, ladies and gentlemen. Life really doesn't work like that. It's a give and take. It is a lot of work and a lot of self growth and reflection to get to that point in life. And far too many people believe that this fairy tale is obtainable. Life don't show up like that. Your fairy tale may show up, but I caution you, it could just look a lot different. Be more open minded, be more self reliant, and be more self assured because this world that you are living in shows up in so many different ways that you have to be prepared for in the meantime and in between time and just in case things don't turn out that way. It's unfortunate that these two ladies, or even the Sab- Sabrina Hutton young lady, feels as if she has won something because now she has this man that has shown time and time again that he is not to be trusted, and he has a character that is disloyal and that will move on from woman to woman and leads by his financial status and not his character and substance because he lacks those things. We get in situations to where we think we are special and we are offering up something different. And what I have come to learn more times than not is we are more alike than we are different. And you might be winning today, but your tomorrow looks the same as the other women's past and experience did. And that's the reality. We have to look in the mirror and understand this. In order to predict future behavior, the best determining factor is past. Harold is not dateable. He is not marriage material. He has shown that time and time again. And we have to quit running and engaging and encouraging these unhealthy, toxic relationships. Also, we can get a Birkin bag and a Bentley or live in a big house because I will tell you this to be true if you do not know it. Those things will not bring you happiness or healthiness or longevity. Longevity. It is a temporary fix, a false identity, and you will be losing valuable time in your life learning the story of being deceitful and materialistic, what that brings you. And being that Gail continued on relationship with this man, although he was married, getting out of the relationship. It's a reality now that she's living with that was always going to happen. People tend to believe that karma isn't real, but karma is a gangster, is silent, and it is patient. It will be to see you sooner or later. And that is the reality that people must understand. I know there's a lot of going on in that Atlanta area. It's a lot going on in the world, period. But that Atlanta, I'm telling you, it's so many stories coming out of Atlanta. It's a mess. If I was a married woman or I had a solid relationship, Atlanta would not be the place me and my man and my husband lived in. And that's not to say, oh, I don't agree and believe it is about the person, but also believe men have an instinct, like women have an emotional instinct by nature, um, to be the prowl or the chaser. And when you put just a plethora of beautiful people, women in their face, and they constantly at him and he's successful, um he had to have the armor of God on, and he has to be a very religious man, and we even know some of them preachers can't even uphold that. You want to set yourselves up for success, and walking into the pit of hell just ain't it. But I digress. That's just my opinion. Um, there's a lot of lessons to be learned on this internet. There is a lot of harsh truths that we are continuously faced with. And it's disheartening to continuously see these things happening and just the disloyalty and disrespect and disregard that these women have for married men. And it's been that way, but it's definitely a growing problem. And I will caution you to understand this. Everybody aren't mentally stable, and some people have ended up on Snap, the movie on Lifetime, because they wasn't willing to take that. So don't be so quick to think that things will go your way. Some people ain't willing to take losses and read between the lines however you choose to. But these stories are also true. Um, the best thing that you can offer yourself is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and be the best person that you can be in life, and work towards providing a solid life for yourself and sharing it with someone else, and have God in it to lead you and guide you down the right direction. If you haven't, please, I appreciate you being here. Hit the thumbs up, and that helps the algorithm. But I thought this Gail story was one, it was interesting. Obviously, it went viral. Her videos start coming out. She had part one through part eight, and each one of them videos minus one, when I seen them, when I watched them, had over 1 million views. So she can tell stories. And then they also said that Gail used to be a cop when she first met her husband, and she might have been a journalist, journalism major. So she was twisting this story to fit her narrative, because she wanted to get a spot on the Housewives of Atlanta, because some of those women she are friends with, and also friends with Married to Medicine women. So some of her, her celebrity social group, are people that are well known names on social media, entertainers and things of that nature. And she just might want to get on TV. I don't know. But what I do know is you don't have to do that to make a lot of money, because Gail definitely lived a privileged life, and I mean, 8-9,000 square foot home, driving Rolls Royce, wearing the premium luxury designer brands. I mean, she was by no means living less than, and she will have, he gonna have to pay her because she wasn't working, and that's one thing that people fail to understand. That man, being that she wasn't a working woman, he will have to sustain her standard of living, and being married to that man over 20 some years, she will live a nice she ain't about to move in the slums. He got to come off that money. And he gonna feel it. That's why he was willing to stay in the marriage, because he said, quote unquote, he wasn't willing to let nobody f up his money. But obviously he let Sabrina do that because he moved in with her, and Gail filed for a divorce. It's just a shame, um, the things that we will do to try to acquire that a materialistic lifestyle, uh, the haves and the have-nots, if you will. This is a reality for many people. So many people want to be the haves that they are willing to do things that average, decent people will not. But that is the reality that more people are faced with. Be cautious, be of character, be responsible, be compassionate for others, and look at your life and do the best you can. Uh, Anybody could be a fool. Anybody could be a cheater or a side chick, a gold digger, a manipulator, arrogant, and undecent. It takes character. It takes substance. It takes strength. It takes uh, belief, faith, and a healed heart and mind to show up in this world positive. And if you are not that way, I invite you to perhaps get into therapy or get into a spiritual community and surround yourself with healthy, positive people that can help encourage you and support you in being the best, most authentic person you could be. Because at the end of the day, Getting real and healing is a decision. It's a part of life that is the epitome, the true north of what you want to be. And if you're not there, you have robbed yourself on what the beauty of living truly is supposed to be. I'm wishing Gail the best, even Sabrina and Harold the best. They all need therapy, they all need healing, and they all need to self reflect and do better than what they have done, um, like so many and most of us do. But looking at their life can offer you a moment in time and in this moment to reflect and to make better decisions, to learn from bad decisions and decide to show up in this world better than many people. I know that is my goal, to be the best, most authentic person I can be. And I fall short of it every day. I have my challenges mentally and physically that I'm working to resolve. Speaking out authentically and assessing situations helps me to escape from my day to day challenges and give me a break, if you will. Whatever you need to do to help you, that's what I encourage you to do. And I appreciate you taking time to be with me here tonight. Um, it's always a pleasure. And if you haven't decided to be a part of this community, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel as I continuously try to grow it and focus on mental health and being the best, most authentic people and talking about things that we can learn from, because every day we all know it's something going on in the world. And instead of always talking trash and being messy, let's look at it and try to learn from it. And if you haven't, please share this with someone else. Somebody can benefit from it. I'm your girl, Boost By as well. If you haven't, subscribe to my channel and leave a comment, a thumbs up, and we'll talk again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God's blessings.